Everything's good. Sure, I'll take it from here. So last Wednesday, if you guys tuned into the Indie Game Academy podcast, is it called the Indie Game Academy Lunch Hour? The IGA Lunch Hour. We were Willem and I. We had a plan to talk about a specific topic, but it went into a totally different direction, and it's okay. But I figure let's have if we did want to have a conversation, let's just talk one on one, and I think it'll make for a much intimate conversation. So here we are, and I wanted to ask Willem plenty of questions about his background, what his future plans are for IGA, and plans beyond IGA. So happy to have you here, Willem. No problem. So let's just start from here. So you and I are we're actually the same age. We don't have to say, but we're the same age. But we both had like two completely different starts into the game industry. I would like for you to take us from the beginning. What got you interested into video games in the first place? Who's 3 out of 4? Okay. Okay. Mm. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that things like that happened. As a child growing up, also in the '90s, starting off with dial-up internet and then switching over to broadband. I was a huge fan of going to different websites as a kid and playing flash games. So like Addicting Games, Miniclip, Newgrounds, even though I wasn't old enough. So like I probably played one of your games before too. That's really interesting. So like who gave you that spark to be creative? You said your brother introduced you to doing game development. Well, just quick side note. So you're the youngest of three, or youngest of four? Ah, oh man. And the younger sister didn't get into video games, so she could have all that knowledge passed on to her, and got such a huge head start. That's great. Okay. So I'm going back to where we were before, where you said that uh it sounds like you were in a great environment that was a creative environment that did nurture you and push you towards this career path. So how did you how did that play when it came to getting your college education? That you have this love for games, you're going into college, like most of us who were told, most millennials who were told that you have to go to college in order to make money and to live that American dream. How did that play out in your life? Can you describe to me the journey that you took, where you said you started out initially in marine biology, but then pivoted over to doing programming and business? That's quite different. Can you describe to me, describe to us the journey that went in your head mentally when you made that shift? Why did you choose marine biology in the first place, and then later shift over to what you seem to be currently doing now as a serial entrepreneur? Okay. That's interesting. You joined a club, you hated it, but the experience still managed to be very valuable later in your life. Would that be accurate? Yeah, I bet. Like if two adults, males, even if they did look like they're college students, came up to my place and said they wanted to paint my door, I'd be like, "No, thank you," and shut the door. So that's great that you guys are able to pull that off. Like I barely allow people to sell me Girl Scout cookies door to door. So it's very interesting you pull that off. Uh, mm. Wow, that's really inspiring. And would you say like the initial classes that you took in business inspired you to go into that club where I guess you had like this snowball going where you're going into this entrepreneurial world? Oh, mm. Prove it to who? Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to know, and I want to talk about the serial entrepreneur and the conscious game space. I want to talk about that right after this. But I'm curious to understand why you chose the entrepreneurial route. Some people they choose, well, not I shouldn't say entrepreneurial route because I feel like that's like fundamental if you live in America. But to go into business specifically, like the creation and formation of businesses. Some people they choose athletics. Some people choose like direct like art, like more traditional arts. Some people choose like to go the academia route and become a professor, or to go out into the corporate world and go work for other people and to work to have their own benefits. How did you develop the mindset that you wanted to be your own man, that you wanted to own your own businesses? Who would you say, if any, was the most influential person in your life that pushed you toward to go down this path? That's awesome. Can you tell us more about the conscious game space and your plans to be an entrepreneur in the space? You told me to fuck off. I remember that. Psh. Yeah. Sheesh. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. We'll definitely talk about the Indie Game Academy in just a moment, but I want to stick on this topic about the conscious game space. So there's so many problems to tackle. It seems like it's infinite, or you can just create a problem for yourself to solve. What is a problem that you're choosing to solve right now? Where's your area of focus? Mm. Mm-hmm. And where's the conscious portion in that come in? Because there's already educational institutions that do exactly that. They try to empower the creative through education while putting them in loads and loads of debt. But they do, at least that was like the initial goal through education, is to be able to empower people to do what they need to do. So where does the conscious part come into play? Okay. Um. So is the conscious portion of it? Is that where you are paying more closer attention to the students that are in your program and tending to the needs of each individual student that does come to Indie Game Academy? Excuse me. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's discuss it. What is this concept that you have in mind? Joy. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. This is off topic, but I've heard a similar concept with bees that like when bees they go out to a flower, they come back to the hive and they communicate through certain body movements and wing movements, and like the more enthusiastic they are about the movements, the more bees that tend to follow where it said that the flower is or whatever it's trying to signal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about joy first business. We're talking about conscious capitalism. What kind of products can we hope to expect from a business that is joy first and they do have they're conscious about how they're treating their employees? I'd like to hear more about the products being created and how customers are also a stakeholder in this model. Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. I see. Hmm. I still, I am understanding, and I hope the listeners are also understanding exactly what you're talking about. The business model, it does seem to be missing the customer aspect of it. So when you describe Kellogg's, I'm thinking about yes, how their employees are striking, how there's like labor unions popping up all over the country to protest the working conditions, especially from the 2020 pandemic. That definitely opened everyone's eyes to that. But there's also the aspect of conscious capitalism within the products. Like, are our products serving our customers well, and are they being harmed even though they are enjoying the product? Are they being harmed in the process? So I wonder, like, for like Frosted Flakes, which is a Kellogg product, I wonder like what the sugar content of that has been in like the 60s compared to how it is now, because diabetes, heart condition, high blood pressure is a serious problem in this country, and they market the hell out of cereal to become a breakfast food when really it's a dessert anywhere else outside of America. So I'd like to talk more about that aspect of it, and like some of the products that you have worked on before, or possibly you have in mind for the future, that also embrace a joy first business and conscious capitalism. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about, I guess, a more relevant example for our listeners. Take Facebook, for example, and their notification systems. If you guys use Facebook in like the 2010s, oh my God, you would get a notification for literally anything. Mafia Wars was like their most popular game back in like 08, 09, and you would get flooded with invites from your friends trying to play these games. Fast forward to now, we're in 2021. When I listen to product managers talk about monetization, notifications, and like optimizing for users to have a good experience on their platform. They not only have metrics to make sure that their products are doing well, but counter metrics to make sure that a counter metric is basically to say like this is like the ceiling. This is as high as we want this metric to go because anywhere beyond this number, the customer is getting harmed. So is it earlier in the 2010s, if a user is spending 8 hours on Facebook a day, that's great. That's exactly what they want, because if they spend more time on Facebook, they're more likely to spend more money on their ads, more likely to go to the marketplace, etc., etc. But now we know that like that causes all kind of like anxiety, like self dysmorphia from being online too long and looking at all these different images, different people, and all different types of mental conditions. I mean, it's hard to sway damn near $1 trillion company to like not over optimize for money, but hopefully people like you and me who care about these kind of things, who care about the user experience and them not harming themselves while being on these platforms, will continue to sway these big platforms to like care about their customers and to put a ceiling at how much money you can make. Like $1 trillion is enough. Mm-hmm. 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 Last bit, and then I want to talk about Indie Game Academy. It's strange to me that business has existed since the beginning of time. The concept of capitalism that we're living in now has existed for hundreds and hundreds of years. But human centric design, human factor design, user experience design is like they seem to be relatively new concepts. Like not only as just like in terms of computers, but just overall caring about how is my customer doing after I sell them this product seems to be such a new concept. And I find that to be very, very strange, but I think it's really a product of the fact that we live in a world that's more connected than ever before. And we can see that I bought this banana from South America and I can physically see how these people are being treated. And the business person who would just get their dollar and get away with it, me as a customer, I'm not allowing them to get away with it anymore. Me as an employee, I'm not allowing them to get away with it anymore. So I'm very happy that we are moving into this space, and I hope people like you and me and our listeners can do whatever we need to do to maintain the status quo or push it forward, push it even more forward to be more progressive and to be more conscious. So I completely agree with all of that. And this generation, I'm seeing it even on like TikTok, social media. They are pushing. They are listening to us millennials who I feel like we really started that process, and they are going hard. They will go on TikTok and they will organize boycotts of certain products, and they will hold these companies accountable. So like, I'm very proud of this next generation that's coming behind us. We're still in our 20s. So, so we have a couple minutes left, and I want to talk more about the Indie Game Academy. So I am a prefect slash producer within Indie Game Academy, leading House Warriors, but we've renamed ourselves, have our own identity, Team Soup. And we are working on creating a hyper casual game for people who enjoy dress up games, specifically people who like to cook and people who like to go on Instagram and take pictures of their foods. So more about that in a future podcast, future video. That's the code name we're going with right now. Code name Bento Boss. A name to be determined. But I would like to learn from you as the headmaster slash founder of Indie Game Academy. What is the purpose of Indie Game Academy? And I'll just say, what is the purpose of the Indie Game Academy, and what are your plans for the future cohorts? Mm-hmm. Okay. How? So if I was like brand new to video games, but I had an interest in video games, is Indie Game Academy for me, or is it something where I have an interest in video games? I've dabbled in trying to create my own games before, or perhaps I'm an experienced developer. Is that who Indie Game Academy is for? Who's like the target audience for Indie Game Academy? As a current prefect slash project manager on one of the teams, my role is to help organize the teams, basically gather everyone's ideas and help basically set the direction for the ship in which we're going to sail in. So, like, just a quick tidbit about my experience: we're 5 developers, none of us with hardcore engineering experience, and we all had different ideas of what kind of games we enjoy and what kind of games we liked. And through several conversations, guided conversations about what we truly enjoy, where our skill sets are, we were able to come together and agree and settle on one type of game that we could create within the 3-month time period that we're given. And hopefully by January 20th ish, you guys will be able to have it in your hands to be able to enjoy it. So we're starting to run out of time here, Willem. Do you have any last words that you like to talk about in terms of your experience, IGA? Where can people find more information about IGA, and how can they get involved? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you guys are not too busy over the summer, or if you are going someplace but you have an internet connection, feel free to sign up to IGA. We run classes. I don't know if you'll still decide to do it 2 times a week, but it is 2 times a week, and the commitment is no more than well, Willem, you say 5 hours. I tell my team like 10 hours. But it's the Okay, yeah, yeah. So I highly recommend the program if this is something that you're interested in, and if you guys enjoy this talk, highly recommend the program. Yeah, if you guys want to follow me, you can find me at Cyphorce, SYPHORCE, on all platforms. So Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find me Dennis Gillum 2892. I've been posting a little content here and there. And that's all I have for today. I would love to do a podcast in the future where we do the reverse, because I think the listeners and you would be very intrigued that we have very, very similar background, very, very similar interests, very similar personalities. But you were the star of the show for today, so I wanted to keep that spotlight on you. Have a good day.